Hi everybody, hello, good morning. It is morning time here. It is 8:43 a.m. Driving to the store to get rice for a reunion that we are having. And of course, I begin to receive beautiful information that I just want to share with the world. And I started thinking about oneness. How yesterday I went live because it was my day for my mini lesson in the Mediumship Development Support Group. And for those of you guys that don't know what that is, it is a development group that myself and four other beautiful souls help to bring forward mini lessons from Monday through Friday for those that are developing, of course, and whatever we're guided to. We also offer our classes that we offer in person online, because believe it or not, there's people that want to develop that don't have spiritualist church around them and don't have a spiritual family. And so we were guided, and it ended up being that actually was where I started practicing and just adding all the mediums and the spiritualists that I could into the group. And now it's about 10,000 people and growing every day. So God is good, God is great all the time, and there's always a purpose as to why things happen to us in our life, right? I was thinking about oneness, right? And I said, what does oneness mean to me? What is oneness to Lillian? To me, oneness is loving without loving other people without knowing them, loving other people and seeing their hurts and not running from it or not judging them. You know, I was talking yesterday about how when you come into a space, if there was an argument or there was some sort of low frequency situation, that, you know, you'll feel it. You can feel it. And you feel like, oh, I was fine. And then I stepped into the room and I feel like, yucky, I don't want to be here. I want to leave. And that's because you pick up on the energy, not only on people, on human beings, but also in the space, right? But there's a reason why that argument took place, right? There's a reason why you're feeling that way. So why not stop for a moment and shed love upon that space and that situation? Well, if we don't identify what's happening, then obviously we don't know how to send healing. And so I guess this video is to give you guys the knowledge that whenever someone's hurt or acting angry or acting out, that came from somewhere, because we were all born innocent. We were all born without hurt and without pain. That hurt and that pain came into our lives because either our innocence was taken away by abuse or traumatic situations in our life. We didn't choose to be that way. No one chooses to be hurt. No one chooses to carry that weight of the situations that they have encountered in their life that are not of high frequency, right? And so, you know, being a healer and being somebody that has been abused and has lived the streets of Chicago. Yeah, I lived the streets of Chicago, and I wouldn't change it for the world. The pain and the hurt that I went through, not only trying to find myself, but trying to get through the loss and the pain that you encounter. You know, gang life for me was real. It was not something that I read about. It was my life. It was what I had to do to be able to survive. At the age of 14, my parents broke up, and my dad decided to relocate, and I want to go with him. At the time, my mother was in a shelter because, my dad, she no longer wanted to be in an abusive relationship. 18 years was enough. She was in a bad place mentally and physically and emotionally. And I understand that even more now as a woman that is a mother and a wife. And my mom was in a shelter, and I didn't know where she was because she was hiding from my dad. And, my dad decided to leave, and I said, Dad, I know where mom's at, and I'm going to stay with her. Well, I didn't know where my mom was at. And, so I decided to just kind of take it from there. The reason I didn't go with my dad was because I had been there before, and it was not the best environment for me as a young lady. And honestly, I was afraid that, that was going to lead to bad things for me. So I made the choice to stay, and I would stay wherever I could. prior to that, I already had a boyfriend, and he had got into an auto accident and he had lost his leg. So I had a lot going on in my life. Now I know that those things happen so that I can look back and say, wow, Lillian, I never felt that at the age of 14, going from wherever I was to rehab, to the hospital first, because he had lost his leg and he was in a coma for I think a month or so. And then after that, he woke up, he had a halo. And going to the hospital to clean him up and to change his, the inner part of the halo. And then from there, he went to rehab, and being there for him when he walked again, it was nothing to me. I was happy. I was excited that I could do that. And I think about that now. I'm like, wow, what, I had a healer heart all along, because it didn't bother me. It really didn't. I was so happy to do that for him. And he was a special part in my life, because he, helped me to have somewhere to stay. And so I know that we serve the purpose for each other's life. And so everybody that comes into your life, there's a reason or rhyme why they're in your life, right? And, I just love the love of loving. I love the love of loving. I couldn't identify what it was then, but I can identify it now. The love of loving people sustained me. And this allowed me to become a lost soul. When after all this happened and I separated from him, I continued my life, and I had my daughter at 16, and things became very difficult for me trying to be a mom. And I didn't have support, didn't have anybody in my life. My brother was in the military. Everybody was kind of living their lives. And so at that time, I lived in a bad area is what I could afford. And then we had lived there prior when we came back from Puerto Rico. We lived in Humboldt Park area of Chicago. And it was familiar to me. It wasn't the best circumstance, but it was a familiar thing for me. So, I went back and we started living there, and the gang became my life, because I love the love of loving people. So when I would walk out of the house, they were right in the corner selling drugs, and I would always feel the compassion to stop and talk and say, hi, how are you? What's going on? And slowly but surely, I obviously began to love them. And, when you are part of a gang, you are able to sell drugs. You're able to sell, marijuana or whatever it is, because you're contributing. So you just have to give something of what it is that you're selling. And again, the organization with drugs it's real. They're very organized, and it still exists. It's still out there. I'm not part of it. It is not something that obviously I think about was one of the best times in my life, but there was times where it put food on my table, or diapers for my children, or the different things that I was going through, and helped me, and we got through our suffering together. And that's why we became a family. I remember in particular there was two boys, Michael and Nudie, and Nudie is now passed. He is passed. He's not here with us. And I remember they were out in the streets a lot, and when we met them, they were sleeping in a truck behind our house. And when we asked, it was because their mother was involved in drugs. And that became something that was real. And I would take them to go wash their clothes. Come on, let's go wash your clothes. And here, do you want to eat? And come in and shower. And Nudie ended up dying in the hands of his brother. He got shot. And like I said, the streets are real. My brother, I then ended up getting my brother and bringing him over here. I was 18 and he was 14, my little brother. And, I don't know if that was the best thing I could have done for him or not, but I do know that, the gangs became his life, and then we had each other. And then as I grew, I wanted to move away from it. I started being involved in, community-based things and nonprofit organizations, and they were teaching me how to be more proficient with computers. And there's a lot of Christian women there, And they took me under their wing, and they gave me a Bible, and they really opened my eyes. And just the fact that I didn't want to no longer be in that situation where if I walked out, I would be shot or something would happen to my kids. And I slowly started to be more aware of what I was doing. And you even though you want to change and you want to move from that, there's the people that you love and that become your family. And we all had a story, whether it was that our mother was abused for 18 years, or the mother was addicted to drugs, or they got beat, or their loved ones are addicted to heroin. This was real. It was my life. And thinking about where I'm at now and where I was, I want to go back. I want to give back. I want to love without loving. I want to go and I want to park and I want to get out, and I want to talk to the kids in the corner and just do what I used to do before. I did it without fear then. Why fear it now? Why fear going back and loving somebody that I don't love? And just letting them know my story and where I'm at, and that there's hope. There's hope. I'm not an angry person, and I don't regret nothing that I went through, because I know that I love the love of loving people. And that's, to me, what oneness is being one with the person in front of you, being one with the person beside you. And no matter what is going on in your life, know that you can come out of it. Look at me. I did it by myself. I did it by myself. I am a caring person. I am not perfect. Yes, I'm a woman. I PMS. I go through all the phases, the crappiness. I'm a human being, but I love people. And I have made the decision. Someone gave me a message, and they're right. Lillian, go back to the streets of Chicago and go help the people that are hurting. And you understand it from a level of being there. Losing friends because they got shot, losing friends over overdoses, seeing innocent people be locked up because they didn't have the means to get a lawyer, because they just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Those stories are real. They're not excuses every time. I saw it for my brother until I couldn't anymore. And I was in a place where I could pay for a lawyer for my brother, and he didn't go to jail because of something that he didn't do. So it's just, I've seen drugs be planted on people, and that was real. It's not about, I'm not a cop hater. I respect cops. I love cops. I'm just saying that was a situation where it was sad. It was sad that I went through that with that person, knowing that they were innocent, knowing that they didn't do what they were being accused to do and couldn't afford a lawyer. So, I finally am in a place where I am one with all that is. I want to give to whoever I can. It doesn't have to be in the Chicago area. It could be parents that have lost their children. It could be children that have lost their parents. I just want to give back. I want to give back. I desire it. It fulfills me. Yes, I'm in a place where I'm doing this for a living, but I'm never going to forget that oneness is loving without expecting anything in return. And I ask God to guide me in this road, and I'll keep you guys posted on this road. Next week I want to do something. I don't know if I'm gonna go Friday with a friend that goes and feeds homeless people in Chicago, or go in the streets of Chicago where I grew up and get out and talk to these kids that are out there. I don't know what it is. I'm just open. I'm open to doing whatever it is that I'm guided to do. I'm asking everybody to be one, that if there's somebody that is irritating you, or if you feel that, they're not in the right place, just even if you feel that the frequency is not vibing with yours and you need to move away from it, be one and love them without loving them. Just shed love upon it, and really truly come into a place of being a healer. You don't have to know the auric field or to communicate with loved ones or to be a Reiki practitioner to be a healer. You could be a healer by just loving without loving. So I hope that you find oneness with everything around you, and know that when you find oneness will find you, and you will become one with life. So when you become one with other souls, you become one with life, and everything becomes so real for you. And so balanced. My life is more balanced than it's ever been, and I've healed through it. I've healed other people through it, through my problems. Even through a recent fire, I healed people through it. I didn't stop doing healings. I didn't stop. I continued, and it healed me, and it made me better, and it raised my frequency into that oneness, into that place of loving people and remembering why I do what I do. So I'm going to leave that with you guys. And that's what oneness is for me. And I hope that you guys find oneness in your heart and in your soul. And remember, life is short. You don't know if somebody's going to be there the next day. You don't know. You don't know where your path is going to lead you. But go back. Don't be afraid to go back to the pains in your life, because I guarantee you that you're going to find oneness with something that you're going to be able to take with you forever. Bye.